In this video, we're going to talk about dividing polynomials by long and synthetic division. Okay. All right, so let's start with long division then. So I want to divide. Now, I want to ask myself, what do I multiply this term by to get this particular term here? Well, that's x squared. So x squared times 4x is 4x cubed, and x squared times 5 is 5x squared. Subtract. So 13x squared minus 5x squared is 8x squared. Bring down my next term, that's negative 2x. So now I want to ask myself, what do I multiply this term by to get this term here? Well, that's positive 2x. So I'm going to take 2x and multiply by 4x, that's 8x squared. And 2x times 5 is a positive 10x. Subtract, that's negative 12x. Bring down the next term, that's negative 15. So now I ask myself, what do I multiply this term by to get this term here? Well, that's negative 3. So negative 3 times 4x is negative 12x, and negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Subtract. Now, this is nice. There is no remainder for this. Okay. So we know then for a fact that 4x plus 5 and x squared plus 2x minus 3 are factors of the polynomial. And again, we know that because the remainder, when I divided, is 0. Okay, so let's take a look at one more long division problem. Now again, notice there are some missing terms. I'm going to put in zeros as placeholders. So again, if you are missing terms, you can always put 0 as placeholder. Okay, same thing. What do I multiply x squared by to get x to the 4th? And that is x squared. So x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times a positive 0x is 0x cubed. And x squared times negative 1 is negative x squared. Subtract. And we have negative 2x squared. I'm going to bring down the positive 2x and the positive 3. So now, what do I multiply this term by to get this term here? Well, that's a negative 2. So negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times 0, that's 0x. And negative 2 times a negative 1 is a positive 2. Subtract. I'm left with 2x plus 1. So I write this as x squared minus 2 plus 2x plus 1 divided by the divisor, which in this case is x squared minus 1. So this is one way that I can divide polynomials. The other method I would like to discuss in this video is synthetic division. So synthetic division can only be used when the divisor is in the form of x plus h or x minus h. All right, so I want to use synthetic division to divide the polynomials. Well, I'm going to write out all my leading coefficients and constants. Now, this is a positive 1 in the box. If you recall, I'm going to put a negative 1. Okay. Make sure you put a line segment. Now, why am I putting a negative 1 in the box? Remember, when you do long division, you are subtracting all the way down. When we do synthetic division, we are going to be adding the column, so I need the opposite sign for that. Okay, so what do? I'm going to bring the 1 straight down. Okay, take this 1, multiply by negative 1, that's negative 1, and add the column. Negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4. Add down. 7 times negative 1 is negative 7. Add down. Now, what is a polynomial for this? Recall, x cubed divided by x is 1x squared. So I know it's going to start off with x squared and then go in descending order. Minus 4x plus 7 minus 6 over x plus 1. Or you can write it as x squared minus 4x plus 7 plus a negative 6 divided by x plus 1. Either answer would be acceptable for this. So now you can see then that I have done the long division for this and got the exact same answer for this. All right, so let's take a look at one other synthetic division problem then. Now remember, anytime I'm missing a term, I can always put 0 as a placeholder. Okay, so because it is negative 2, I'm going to put positive 2 in the box. So 1 for x to the 4th, 0 for x cubed, negative 5 for the negative 5x squared, 0 for 0x, and negative 10. Put your segment. Okay, so now bring the 1 down. Okay, so we are going to multiply and add down. Multiply, add down. Multiply, add down. And multiply and add down. So now let's write it out. X to the 4th divided by x is x cubed, and now go in descending order. Plus 2x squared minus x minus 2 minus 14 over x minus 2. We will be using long and synthetic division later on in this chapter, so make sure you know how to divide using both methods.